Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how to patch this. This is on a 1977 Chevy pickup. Very common rust area right here. All the way along the bottom, it's all rusted out. Back to the inner part of the fender. It's actually, this truck is pretty bad in general. But I got a patch panel from LMC right here. It's a full-size patch panel to cover the whole rear part of the bed. It's a full-size patch panel, but I'm not going to use all of it, which probably should. But they're never perfect, these patch panels. So I think I'm just going to cut out what I need somewhere in here and very carefully weld it so it doesn't warp a bunch, and we'll just get rid of that rust and make this a solid bed again. So to remove this panel, you need to find these spot welds, which you can see them if you either sand on them or if there's dirt or something, you can feel them too. You're going to want to grind all those through just this first layer, this outer layer of metal, because it's just spot welded to an inner panel. Just grind off these welds, grind through just the first panel, and then we'll use a chisel and separate the two panels. So, as you can see, we were just grinding through the top panel to cut out these spot welds, and it lets it come free from this inner reinforcement here. And you got to be very careful to just be cutting through the first layer. You don't want to cut all the way through your reinforcement here. And so now we're going to clean this up and then put Pour 15 on it to keep it from rusting anymore, and then use this as a template for the patch panel. So we're going to deal with this rusted reinforcement part. If you can see right there on the edge where it has the spot welds, you have to put weld through primer there because the Pour 15 will burn. The weld through primer, just get a decent one that you just put the weld through primer on the spots where the two pieces of metal are going to be butted up to each other. So wherever you want to weld, use the weld through primer where the two pieces are touching. Otherwise, on spots like this, where you're just trying to encapsulate rust, use the Pour 15. Your weld through primer for where you're welding, and then where you're not, just use normal, this is just semi-gloss black Pour 15. And you can just brush it on up under here, because no one will ever see this again. You're just trying to stop rust. And I like to try to get some as far up behind the other panel as possible, just to try to stop the rust from coming through ever again. And then if you want, you can also acid etch the spots that are rusty before you do the Port 15 as well, to make sure that you try to kill the rust and then seal it in there so it doesn't come through ever. Because of how big this patch piece is, I laid the old piece inside of it, and you really got to hold it into the corner, line everything up, and then trace it, and we'll just mark it out, or I mean cut it out, and just leave a little extra so we could trim it to fit just right. We finished welding it, grinding it down. You want to grind it down as much as possible, but you don't want to dig in to one side or the other. You want to just kind of get the weld ground flat. Now, on bare metal, you want to use like an epoxy primer or a sealer. I'm going to kind of try to do an experiment and see if I do Port 15 on here, how well of a sealer that'll be. So this probably isn't the right way, so probably use an epoxy primer or a sealer, but I'm just trying an experiment right now to see what happens. So on this Duraglass or reinforced Bondo, super hard to hand sand. So whatever you do needs to be smooth, and you're not gonna finish with this. This is just to build up, you know, bigger gaps or whatever is what this reinforced Bondo is for. It's stronger than normal Bondo, so if you have a large gap or something, a large fill that you have to do, it's better because it's just stronger. But you need to be careful with how you use it because it's hard to sand, and you just don't want to get too carried away with it. And the smoother that you spread your mud, the easier it is and the quicker it's going to be to sand this whole thing. Then you're going to come over it with just normal filler for the thinner spots. So, just going to kind of do a skim coat over most of this, and then probably sand it down, and you'll probably have to do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times, however many times, until this thing's perfectly flat and smooth. So. Okay, so now the Bondo is nice and dry, and we're just going to kind of do the same thing, sand it just like the Duraglass. Just keep your block flat, and keep doing 45-degree sanding pattern, I guess. Keep your block always moving so you don't dig grooves, and we'll just get it done. We're just going to spot prime this in with some high build primer. and then sand it with 180 after this, and then sand it with 320. You always want to wipe this down with wax and grease too, and then give it time to evaporate out of the Bondo. You should prime it twice, and you should probably, on your first prime, sand it with 180, and then reprime, sand it with 320, and then 400. I only primed it once, and so I sanded it already with 180. Now we're gonna sand it with 320, and then I'll hit it with some 400 or red Scotch-Brite. But you just want, and you're going to want to use Guide Coat, which is just kind of like a black spray paint that splatters, and it will let you see your low spots, and you'll just want to get rid of all your low spots. So here it is, all done. It's been a couple weeks, so it's got some dirt and stuff on it, but it turned out not too bad at all. You can't really tell. And that's what you want to do, is you want to take your time. Always take your time with this stuff, and just make sure it comes out as good as it can. Can't even tell. So here's a quick update on the truck. Tailgate's all painted to match, and I just threw on one of the wheels off my other truck. You can just see how much it changes the look of the truck compared to the stock wheels. Now I will be lowering this truck, so I'm not going to leave that. It looks goofy right now with the smaller tire. But the truck will be lowered. Got to get a new front bumper, fix the hood. It's got a little bit of a fold starting, so I got to try to straighten it out. Maybe put some braces. Put the 454 in there. Just been cleaning up the engine bay, painting stuff. It's pretty dirty right now. There's a lot of dust and stuff all over. Got to switch out the air cleaner probably, and some valve covers, make that look a little nicer, and put some new carpet in here. Just nice new black carpet. Apparently you can't find the orange interior door panels or any of the orange trim and stuff anymore, so had to get black. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do with the door panels. I'm gonna take out the headliner because it looks like a rat chewed through that. But other than that, this truck's pretty much almost done. That whole door I painted. top and bottom right here was replaced. That was rotted out. I replaced this bottom section here. The bottom of the door I did a door skin on and replaced all of that. So if you take your time and just try to use the best materials that you can, it usually turns out all right. And then I even painted under here, painted the frame and stuff, so it looks okay. But that's just an update, kind of what I've been up to. The next video will be about the van. The van will be driving down the road, doing some kind of some engine work, making it run better, drive actually, and then after that we'll do all the body work and completely fix up the van. But also there will be there'll be some videos. I'm going to be doing a 12 valve Cummins swap in a crew cab, which will be coming up soon, and probably be doing van videos and then mixing in some of the Cummins swap videos. So thank you guys for watching.